Hi everybody, this is Sue. It is June 20th, I believe. Tomorrow's the first day of summer. 2024. And we're working on Simplicity 9603. We are getting to the end of this, thank goodness. This part here with this facing kind of confused me for a while. I was in the wrong mindset with this. I was thinking that they were saying to do this one step here on both sides, and that's not what they were saying. They were saying do it on one side and then do this on the other side. So once I got that into my head, oh, this is only done on this one side, then this side does this, then it made sense. So, this is the facing that we're working on. And what it says, and because this is kind of long and complicated, I'm just going to kind of paraphrase it. But what it's saying is it says the right side. I had sewn up both sides, and then once I realized, I started taking it out and realized that I took out the right side instead of the left side. So we're going to do it the opposite of what it says. But it says, this is 19, or this is 18. We're going to do 18. And it says to take this and sew it with the wrong sides together. And sew the front down. Now, if you're making the long one, you'll have to look on your pattern piece and find your dot where you're sewing it down to that dot, because it's open from the knees on down. On the short one, you sew it all the way down to the end. But you sew it, and I'm going to turn this up, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to put it around my neck here and show it to you. All right. No. Okay. All right. No, I do have this right, I guess. Okay, so this is the right side. They want you to take this and sew it wrong sides together. Then, and this is kind of long on me, they want you to take this side and put it like this over where that is, and sew it down like this. Then when you open it out, it is enclosed. This side is enclosed in this. I see that as a problem. That I can see other ways to do this. First of all, why sew it like this? Why sew this together like this and then come in with this side And so this and this, and it's kind of sandwich it in. Why do that? Why not sew the left and the right and the front together, and the left and the right and the back together? Why not? I think that's a problem. I just think it's ridiculous. I'm going to try it, sewing it the way I think it should be done. And I even considered putting a zipper in, like a jacket zipper. But the only jacket zipper I have is this heavy duty one, and this is a lightweight fabric, so I don't think the zipper is going to work. But I just don't see this business of having all that fabric piled up together on there. That's just not gonna work, I don't think. I mean, it will, but it's gonna be bulky. So what I'm gonna do, and I'm just gonna pause this, and I'm gonna take it apart, this one side here. I'm going to take that apart, and then I'm going to sew them together the way I think it should go. And then I'll show you what I did. I may be wrong. It may not work, but I don't know why it wouldn't. So I'm going to give it a try. I'm just going to give it a try and see what happens. So I'll be right back. Okay. So I now see what they're doing. I understand it. I sewed it together the way I thought it should go. I was wrong. It twists. And the whole collar area is twisted if you do it the way I said. So it has to go. You sew, and it's just easier to sew this wrong sides together and then come back in and sew the other side over top of it and then open it out. After I sat there and sewed it together and then took it apart because it was twisted up in the collar area. And then when I started clipping this collar area together to see what I had done wrong, that's when I saw that this has to sew down wrong sides together. Then you bring this other side over and you sew it on over top of it, and you do another sew. So the only reason you're doing it in two sections is just that it's easier to do. But you have to do it like this. You have to sew. And I don't really think it matters which side you do. They're saying do the right side and then do the left side, but I think that's just an easier way of describing how it has to be. But to keep this up here from twisting, you have to sew it together like this. And you have to sew up here, up in here in the neckline just a little bit so that you can catch all this stuff right in here. And this is, so this is how this has to be done. So, I think I need to turn my pins around to go the other way. So that's what, once I did that, once I saw it, why they were doing it the way they were doing it, then it made more sense to me. But start up here and then sew down on this, and this has to come out. So this is out like this. And then you sew this down like this. I had to screw it up to see what they were doing. But once I saw it, and I saw why they were doing it that way, you know, then it made sense. But yeah, this is the way it has to be. So you start it up in here. It doesn't really say, but it has to be that way. Because otherwise that twists. So we're going to sew here. All right. I think that kind of got a little twisted there. All right, let's see. Hopefully that's better. All right. Now, we got to take this other side here. Okay, we got to take this other side and keep the clips in there so that that doesn't twist. Keep that clips in the neck so that doesn't twist. We've got to match this up here at this seam and make sure that we're getting, okay. So there's, okay. So this has to come like this. And it's going to have to go this way. I don't know what Oh, there it is. All right, now then, this has to come over these two, this that we just sewed together. Now this side has to come on top of this, and it's going to sew from this side. But everything has to line up, so you're working with quite a bit of fabric here. You've got to keep everything lined up, and it wouldn't hurt to put in clips while you're putting this together, and then putting in the pins too. It would not hurt at all to put the clips in and then the pins to make sure everything stays lined up. Okay. Put the clips in and then put the pins in. Okay. Uh, okay. Looks like I got a lot of threads here that I didn't get pulled out. I'm kind of got someplace to go tonight. I was kind of hoping I could get this finished up. It's not going to happen. So now, for some reason, this is stretching out. This is stretching out. And I think let's see, look at that. Everything's lining up except for this. And that is just stretching out. So why is that? So this is lining up. This is not going into that like it should. And so now this of that like it should. This is going to take some real concentration to get this all lined up. And you've got okay. Now see, here I am down here, and that is stretching out. That's not lining up, that's stretching out. So why is that stretching out? I've got the shoulder seams here clipped together. So here's the shoulder seams. So everything should be lining up here at the top. Because everything's got to line up. Oh, here we go. That's it. Where's this clip? This has to line up. And so, am I sewing the wrong side together? I need to do it the other way. Shoulder seams have to come together this way. Okay. Everything's got to line up. This is going to take some real concentration to figure out how this all fits together, because this is not lining up. So this has got to line up all the way down. Yeah, because see, now that's all lined up. Alright, now then. Now, this has to go like this. And this has to line up. Oh my. This is a bear. Okay. To make sure that everything lines up from the bottom, you have to make sure that everything lines up from the center of the collar. The shoulder seams have to line up. Everything has to line up exactly before you sew this together. Everything has to line up perfectly. And otherwise, you're going to have a mess down here at the bottom. And even at that, I've still got a little bit, not a lot, not as much as it was, because it was like a full inch. It's still not lining up perfectly. But everything has to line up from the center of the neck. The shoulder seams have to line up. This part here on the breast has to line up. Everything has to line up. When you sew this together, it all has to be lined up or it's not going to work. Okay. So this takes a considerable amount of concentration. You've got notches here that you've got to make sure that they're lining up. Everything's got to line up and be perfect. And then you can sew this together. And this is going to be a bear. So we're going to sew. It's that you're sewing through about 6 layers here. And so this has all got to be lined up. You've got to make sure your notches are lined up, your clips are lined up, everything is lining up. Because this is going to show. A mistake here is going to show. This is the very front of the garment, and the mistake is really going to show. Everything's got to line up. Everything's got to be, there can't be any mistakes of any kind. You've got to really take the time, work with this before you put it together, because this is the very, very front of the garment. It's going down your center front, and it's got to line up perfectly. So take your time with this. Play with it. Look at it. If it takes all day, it takes all day. But that's just the way it is. And I'm going to have to quit here pretty soon because I've got someplace I've got to go tonight. So, but this is, I can feel that. That doesn't feel like that's quite right yet. So I'm going to pause this, and probably I'm just going to go ahead and put this up because I've got to start getting ready to go. I've got someplace I have to go tonight. And so from this seam right here, this reinforcement seam right here that we put in, you've got to sew from there all the way down. And I can feel that that needs some work. That's not lining up quite the way it should. But take your time. This might take an entire day to make sure that this is, I hope not, but don't be surprised if it does. And, you know, you're going to have to use clips and you're going to have to use pins to get everything lined up and perfectly aligned. Because see, like down here, I've still got this problem down here at the bottom where it's not lining up. So something up here is not quite right. But you've got to make sure the shoulder seams are lined up perfectly on both sides. On the right and the left side, everything's got to line up. Everything's got to be perfectly aligned because this is going to show. So everything has to be perfectly aligned. And it isn't going to be a fun, easy task to do. But I'm going to pause this now and continue to work with this for a little while, but I have to go. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just post this, and then it'll probably be tomorrow, because, yeah, it'll be tomorrow before I can do this again. So I thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it, and I will be back probably tomorrow.